Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, the revolutionary wave of demonstrations and protests known as the Arab Spring originated from Tunisia in December 2010 and then spread throughout the countries of the Arab League and its surroundings. While the most radical transition from the Arab Spring into civil wars take place in Syria and Iraq, as we have seen, there's major concern over the protection of cultural heritage in countries of the North African Maghreb as well. In Tunisia, democracy has been consolidated after the overthrow of President Ben Ali in 2011, and parliamentary elections and presidentials have successfully been held last autumn. Libya has been governed by two rival governments since August 2014, one in Tobruk and an Islamist rival government in Tripoli. Control of the country is severely limited by the current civil war between both governments, as well as the activity of different jihadist groups and different tribes that create a generally confusing situation. Since 2011, there has been a steady stream of reports detailing the threats to Libya's cultural resources, from ideological destruction to unchecked development. In 2013, for example, construction machines destroyed parts of a necropolis of the ancient Greek city of Cyrenacia, one of the 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Libya. Another World Heritage Site, Radames, suffered rocket attacks in 2012. Since 2011 to the present day, Salafi Islamists destroyed Sufi shrines and graves in the whole country, including the Sha'ab Mosque in Tripoli. It seems that there's still no damage in museums, but the Department of Antiquities is taking precautions, such as hiding portable objects and securing museums. Perhaps the greatest threat to Libya's diverse heritage is currently the looting of archaeological sites and trafficking of archaeological materials to markets of ancient art. The few international initiatives for the protection of cultural heritage launched after 2011 in Libya itself have now essentially stopped. The escalation of hostilities in the past 9 months has led many foreign embassies to close and international organizations to leave the country. Tunisia's post-revolutionary period equally saw the destruction of many Sufi Muslim monuments in 2011 and 12, including the famous Marabout of Sidi Bou Said near Tunis. Looting and illicit excavation have already been a huge problem in Tunisia under the Ben Ali period, and the problem still exists as the country's numerous sites are almost uncontrollable by security forces and the National Heritage Institute. An impressive exposition in the Museum of Carthage, the Tunisian Heritage Institute showed pieces that had been illicitly excavated and rescued from houses, mainly of the Ben Ali family after the revolution, well aware that this is only the tip of the iceberg. Due to the influx of weapons and trained fighters, mostly from Libya, Tunisia suffers from insecurity, particularly in the border regions to Algeria and Libya. Insecurity that have stopped most activities of foreign archaeological missions in the Tunisian hinterland last year. The terrorist attack in the Bardo Museum of Tunis on March 18th this year showed the vulnerability of the country's tourism industry, which is also based on the richness of Tunisia's cultural heritage. But it underlined also the particular role of history, archaeology, and cultural heritage in the discourse about identity and social cohesion. Tunisia and Libya thus present two different sides of the same coin. While the situation in Libya is so serious that helping inside the country became almost impossible for foreign missions, Tunisia shows generally similar problems, but still a considerably higher level of security and stability that allows direct help inside the country. This leads us to the question what we can do to support the protection of cultural heritage in Libya and Tunisia. A key question in both countries is, as everywhere, the increase of awareness and support of the public. If the local communities are not convinced of the need of protecting the cultural heritage in their own neighborhood, most of our efforts from abroad will not bear fruit. However, Involvement of local communities is a difficult task in both countries, Libya as Tunisia. With the colonial period and the appropriation of the Roman remains in particular by Europeans caused a severe split between the population and their archaeological heritage. In Tunisia, the share in Tunisian visitors in museums and sites is about 2% of the total, which shows the urgent need of reconciling locals with their heritage. In fact, local opposition against destruction of cultural heritage can be extremely successful. This is shown by the fact that Tunisia succeeded in slowing down the systematic destruction of Sufi sites, a success largely based on the strong commitment of the local communities protecting their own local religious heritage. An important example of involvement of local communities is a program for students in the Libyan town Shahat, ancient Cyrene, that should have been presented here by Ahmed Hosein, who was unfortunately not able to come. This project pursues the objective of involving the local community in the tasks and duties of protecting and preserving Libya's heritage. Professor Hosein states that the fact that the Libyan authorities did previously not attempt to involve the local community has led not only to ignorance among the community about archaeology and heritage, but also to a gap in understanding the value of heritage. In the first step of this project, lectures were given to students of different secondary schools in Shahat. The second step included visits to the archaeological sites with special material given to the students with basic information and explanation about the sites and monuments. Ahmed Hosein underlines the positive results of this initiative that confirm the reinforcement of the relationship between heritage and people, emphasizing that the most important point in protecting heritage is knowledge. A similar project has been organized by the Tunisian National Heritage Institute and the German Archaeological Institute at Chimtu, ancient Semitus, in the Tunisian northwest near the Algerian frontier. In this project, we are training local school teachers in history and archaeology to enable them to visit the site and the museums with their classes. Another museum-based project is the permanent exhibition of a hoard of gold coins from Chimtu, which is still the largest gold treasure of late antiquity, in the Bardo Museum in Tunis, a joint project of the Institut National du Patrimoine, the DAI, and the Museum of Karlsruhe in Germany. This project was tragically slowed down some weeks ago with the destruction of the showcases during the attacks and the necessity of a new security concept. But we will now, of course, support our Tunisian partners even stronger and open this exposition as soon as possible. The educational project in Chimtu is part of a broader program aiming to strengthen the social and economic dimension of local heritage in order to ensure their sustainability. It is part of a special program of the German Federal Foreign Office to support the process of democratic transformation in North Africa and consists of a schooling program for local craftsmen, reinforced public relations, training programs for employees of the Tunisian National Heritage Institute, summer schools for students, and in cooperation with the local civil society, public lectures and guided tours. These on-site activities are accompanied by a major program of research fellowships that enable Tunisian and now also Libyan scholars to work in the libraries of the German Archaeological Institute in Rome or Berlin. As to the research strategy in times of insecurity, we do not plan long-term excavations, but concentrate on assisting our partners to securing the sites, producing inventories and cartographic documentation. Generally, these activities are focused on specific training and operational means to ensure effective prevention of illegal excavation, looting, and illicit export of cultural property, as well as on the scholarly background for discussing the archaeological evidence in a broader social context. A program managed by Anna Leone from Durham University and Ralf Bockmann from the Rome Department of the German Archaeological Institute focuses on the training of Libyan archaeologists in various fieldwork techniques with the aim of supporting Libya to develop a strategy for the monitoring and preservation of cultural heritage on Libyan territory. As it is currently impossible to organize the trainings in Libya, the last 2 courses have been successfully held in Tunisia in cooperation with the University of Sfax. The training concentrates on mapping techniques such as remote sensing, field survey, and GIS databases. If we want to fulfill the double task of protecting exposed and vulnerable archaeological remains for future generations, while facilitating research and a sustainable development of archaeological sites, authorities need a systematic site management approach that addresses sites or cultural landscapes as a whole. Measures taken to preserve and maintain cultural heritage must build on its investigation and documentation. Thinking of effective strategies for protecting cultural heritage in countries of crisis, digitalization and archiving, photography and map collections, as well as the creation of digital monumental registers, take an important part of help we can actually deliver. Networks of different archaeological databases can facilitate research and management of cultural heritage. The German Archaeological Institute is currently creating such a tool which will combine different databases of basic archaeological data, objects, sites, stratigraphical data, library collections, and digital publications with, secondly, standardizing systems for archaeological terminology, place names, as well as chronological concepts and terms, and thirdly, analytical tools for text and data mining, as well as pattern recognition. Particularly, the latter can, as we hope, be a useful tool for police and customs officials confronted with unknown archaeological objects, and thus a means against illicit trade of objects. The markets for illegally exported archaeological artifacts are in our own countries, in Europe, the United States, and the Gulf region. Effective measures against illegal parts of the art market are crucial, not only in the countries discussed today. The most effective help, however, is support for the development of stable political and economical structures and security. Thank you very much.